Hello everyone, I hope you had a good week. This week I started streaming Fallout New Vegas. I also finished The Witcher 3, well, more precisely the last DLC for The Witcher 3, Blood and Wine. And I had a lot of fun with that game. I still stick to my judgment that is the best AAA RPG I've ever played, but if you really want proper RPGs, you need to look indie anyway, or you need to look a little bit more underground, and in that I consider some other games like, I don't know, Obsidians are not really AAA, I guess, certainly not The Age of Decadence, and yeah, and also not Fallout 1 or 2, which are some of my most favorite RPGs of all time. But The Witcher 3 was a lot of fun. But now I started playing the Fallout New Vegas. And there's multiple reasons why I started that, but the thing is, I have never finished that game. I have played it, I know enough about it to know that I suck at hardest difficulty. I had, unfortunately, to find that by myself on stream last night. Yeah, hardest difficulty is really hard at the beginning, really hard. I might up the difficulty later on, but it's really hard. And I also don't have a very agility-based build. I like to rely on VATS. Yeah. So, Fallout New Vegas, people say, or some people say that it's the best Fallout game ever made. It's definitely up there in terms of writing quality. You can see that right from the beginning, and from what I've played of the game, I never really got too into the main quest of Fallout New Vegas. The most I got was basically Prim, if you know about the game, basically very far, not very far at all. It's like, I don't know, a couple of hours. But I did finish 2 DLCs, and I love them. It was amazing. One of them was, I don't know the names, Honest Hearts, I believe one is one of the names. It's one in the bank. And another one is one with robots, and I loved both of them. They were extremely well written. I really enjoyed them. The combat was a little bit, I mean, you know, the thing about Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, and I suppose Fallout 4, never played it, but the thing about Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3 is that combat is so ever-present, and even in Fallout 2, because you can see a very big difference between Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 is in terms of the combat. Even in Fallout 2, like, most of the combat that you find, like, I don't know, rats in a garden in MODOK, or geckos in Klamath, or later on you're gonna find a bunch of mutants in a tanker, or all that sort of stuff. Even those combats that you wouldn't see in the first game, because the first game really goes out of its way to just present like dedicated combat where you really need. You got full out invasions of a city. You have death claws when you need to have death claws. You have just messing around with criminals. Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 are very different in that regard, but even in Fallout 2, you don't have the same amount of combat at all as you have in New Vegas. So in the first stream, right away, we were killing coyotes and mantises and all that sort of stuff. And the mantises are there, and the coyotes are only there because I really went out of my way to go get them because I needed some experience. But it's a different sort of experience, that game. So for me, the reason why I stopped playing New Vegas is because there's so much combat and the exploration is so based on hoarding everything. And I was playing, and I am playing on hardcore mode, and I'm also playing with Joshua Sawyer's mod, actually a remake of Joshua Sawyer's mod, you know, patch it out and all that sort of stuff. But I say Joshua, he's just Josh. I believe it's just Josh Sawyer, but I don't know. Anyway, Sawyer, the lead designer of Fallout New Vegas, he made a mod, how he saw fit for Fallout New Vegas to be, and he couldn't make it into the final game like that because, you know, it's a team, and it's just a game that's supposed to be released to the public, to the mainstream, as it were. So, you know, there was some decisions, there's always some decisions, some design decisions that you can't go with. So he made a game, I think, harder. I haven't actually looked at the change list for that mod, but it's just the only way I've ever played New Vegas. I've been enjoying it. Now that I'm really talking about it, playing the game with an audience is totally different. And now that I'm talking about all the things, I can notice the details and notice how focused or not focused, but it is really focused, the quest line is, or the main story of New Vegas. So I'm really looking forward to it. I am indeed, and I am streaming Fallout New Vegas on Saturdays and on Tuesdays on twitch.tv/KernelRPG. There's links all over the place in the description when you can find me. But yeah, it's on Saturdays and Tuesdays at 10 p.m. GMT. So if you're on Central Europe, that's summer time though, because it's summer. So if you're in Central Europe, it's 11 p.m. If you're on Eastern Europe, it's midnight, of course. You know, midnight between Saturday. Anyway, you know the deal. And if you're on the East Coast, it is, I believe, 4 p.m. And then on Pacific, it's 1 p.m. Anyway, get information. If you go to my Twitch, you can see the timelines there. But yeah, very much looking forward to New Vegas, and if you want to catch last night's stream, that's on my main channel page. I got you actually a link up there if you want to check it out, but it's on my main channel page. I upload all of my streams at the bottom of the page, so you go to youtube.com/CardinalRPGGaming, that's my main channel page. At the bottom, there's all the full streams. Of course, it's full streams. I'm gonna be uploading the highlights, as I am uploading the highlights with The Witcher 3, and I'm gonna upload the highlights for the end. And I really enjoyed the end of the DLC quest. I thought it was a good departure because for once. The main quest of the DLC, well, I say for once, but the other DLC was very much the same situation. The main quest of Blood and Wine is as interesting, if not more, than most of the side quests. It's actually a huge it's a huge quest, and I really enjoy that. But I thought, I mean, regarding Blood and Wine, let me just say that I'm going to talk a little bit about another thing in a little bit when I make the break, because I'm going to talk about another stuff. But regarding hiccups, terrible things. Regarding the main quest of Blood and Wine, or regarding Blood and Wine in general, I had heard that Blood and Wine was huge. It was like 40 hours of gameplay content, and it probably is. But I really didn't like that they made it so padded. There's so many nonsense side quests that you don't see in the other DLC or in the main quest in the main game at all. So there's like, you know, I counted 3 quests where you just go into a dungeon, kill a thing, and come back. And that's like 15 minutes each, and those are, you know, because, you know, there's the dialogue, and there's the exploring around in there, and this completely pointless side quest. It's nothing. You gain absolutely nothing. You don't even gain a thing that other side quests do, which is basically like little trophies, or like little rewards, and this DLC is full of that, and I really didn't enjoy that about the DLC, but I want to talk about that I didn't talk too much about that as I played. I did touch on that, you know, it's a stream, but on the highlights I didn't touch, but I want to talk about that, about a fundamental thing about doing Let's Plays. So stay with me after the break. In the meantime, if you wanna pump on some, I'm sorry that I punched this thing. Yeah, I know it sounds. I know you can hear it. But anyway, if you want to catch me on Twitch, as I said, there's links in the description. It's Tuesdays and Saturdays for Fallout New Vegas, and on Thursdays it's another game. I'm currently playing through Battle Brothers, and I'm having an extreme amount of fun. I'm doing it on maximum difficulty on Thursdays, so also looking forward to that. So yeah, stay with me after the break. It seems pretty simple, doesn't it? Let's Plays are not reviews. It's something that I found out very early into my... I think I mentioned this a few times, very early into my YouTube career. Let's call it that. I hope it is. I hope it's going to become, but let's focus on the subject here. Basically, the thing is, Let's Plays are not reviews for a very, very fundamental reason. It's because of the reason why you, as a viewer, watch them. And I'm talking to you, I mean, you're watching a weekend update, so you're a different sort of viewer. So you come here for other stuff, and I thank you very much for that. It's a pleasure, it's an honor, I'm humbled. But the reason why many people, and most people I would say, watch Let's Plays, including myself, is for the love of the game. So for starters, you already know that somebody watching, you're playing, I don't know, Dark Souls. Somebody watching a Dark Souls Let's Play is interested in that game. I mean, the first couple of episodes, or first few episodes, it's gonna be maybe just somebody trying to figure out if they like or not the game, or if they enjoy watching you play it. But as a general rule, it's always gonna be somebody that's dedicated to that game, because it's kind of the same experience. Watching somebody play a game, whatever game, even if it is on person, or in person, I should say, or on the internet, you still need to enjoy it, right? Or at least, a little bit at least, or the person that you're watching. So that's the fundamental reason why you can't actually review a game as you play it. For starters, it's really hard. So you need to really know the game very well, and you know, because you're making a review. If you want to review anything, if you want to comment on, like, I don't know, I'm playing through, like, imagine I was doing a review of Morrowind as I played it. I could have done that, because I know the game well enough. I know the history of the developer, I know the history of the game as well, the history of its development itself, and I know the game full, you know, from start to finish, kind of. So I can review a lot of stuff, and I did put some insights into that, and I think it made the Let's Play a little bit better for Morrowind, the fact that I knew the game, but it's not, I mean, I'm actually watching another Let's Player, Keith Ballard, playing through Morrowind, and is having a completely different approach to mine, and it's just fantastic. It's fascinating to watch, and he's a very entertaining person as well. He's very smart, so it's just very good from that perspective as well. But from the gameplay perspective, it's really interesting because it's a new player to Morrowind. So, you know, it's definitely a question of what you want as a viewer want to see, but you're not going to want to see somebody just bashing the game. Like, Morrowind has a lot of stuff that, you know, could be done better. You know, for starters, combat, for example. I'm not saying I am of the opinion that Morrowind actually has the best combat in the last 3 Elder Scrolls games. Not in terms of, you know, how flashy it looks, because it doesn't look as good, but in terms of how deep it actually is, which isn't very deep, but it's still deep enough, and I think that it's better in that regard from others. It's a discussion that we can have. It's fine. It's okay. But I'm not going to be reviewing that on the Let's Play. I'm not going to either be saying good things about the combat or bad things about the combat. It's not my place, because you already have your opinion, right? And I have my opinion. My place as a Let's Player is to enjoy the game, and that is a thing that the reason why I want to talk about it today is because I released I think so it was yesterday, I believe, or 2 days ago. No, it was yesterday. Okay, so I don't have the numbers on me. Yesterday I released an episode of the highlights for The Witcher 3, titled The Worst Quest Ever, or The Worst Quest Yet, or something like that. It was a quest, and some of you might know it. If you didn't watch it, don't need to watch it, but if you know the game, if you know the DLC, it's a quest where you go to a bank, and you are confronted with a system that's in place for you to just be bored out of your mind. And I was very critical. I was very critical on camera. I knew I was being very critical on camera. And I could feel all the things that I was expecting to feel. You know, people on chat, they weren't really complaining. I mean, there was somebody that said, just go with the flow, and I totally respect that. But I made it as an exception. That quest in particular, I made it as an exception for me to, you know, speak out against it. I wasn't right in everything, and that's great that I wasn't right in everything, because that way I at least could correct my perspective and see that it's not actually that bad of a quest. It's a reference to a proper thing. It's not just a social commentary. It makes sense that we can cast Axii, which is a thing that I complain. But anyway, the thing is, I was critical, and I put the highlights up, and somebody commented, "This is not why I watch Let's Plays," and that's the reason. That's the reason why I want to talk about it. It's not. It's really not, and I think I do. The thing is, I do owe it to you and to myself to speak out against every once in a while. I can't be critical of everything that I see. You'll notice. Some of you might notice that I am critical, or like I'm a little bit. I do a few jabs every once in a while when I don't like, when I don't particularly like a thing. But I don't go out of my way to just criticize and just suggest or whatever. Like, for example, if I see a plot hole or something, I just say, okay, that whatever. And if you pay attention to that, you'll see my criticisms every once in a while. Depends on the game, of course. But even the games that I am absolutely loving, I will criticize every once in a while. I think that's important. I think that's important because it keeps me honest. Because one of the big problems for me that Let's Players have, big Let's Players anyway, because they have a lot more people that love the game they're playing, and there's a lot more criticism if they don't do their job right, which effectively is kind of a job doing a Let's Play, kind of. But the thing is, the trap they fall into is just unadulterated, or not unadulterated, the problem is it's adulterated enthusiasm for whatever game they're playing. And that's actually something I've been seeing in a Let's Player that's close to me, not personally, but, well, actually kind of, you know, over the internet, I guess, but that I've been following for a long time, and I just stopped following, unfortunately, because, I mean, it pains me, but it is just, they get to a point where just everything is fantastic. And I like to praise what I really feel is fantastic. And that's the reason why you haven't seen me started an Oblivion playthrough. I really want to play an Oblivion, do a Let's Play Oblivion, or Skyrim, or Enderroll. Actually, Enderroll, there's other reasons why I'm not playing that yet. I will play that. But the reason why I haven't done a Let's Play of Oblivion, and I really want to, because I know you guys want me to, some of you anyway, but the reason why I haven't done that is because I have played many hours of that game. That's actually an important game in my I said this a few times already, but you might not know. Basically, it's a game where I shifted my perspective on games. I realized I owe a lot to that game as well, not just because of that, but because of that in particular, because I realized how badly done Oblivion is. There's a lot to love. There's a lot to love about Oblivion. And there's, like with Morrowind, there's a lot to love about Morrowind. There's also a lot of things that are badly done. The thing is, at what point, not at what point, but what things do you forgive? And what things do you not forgive? And with Oblivion, it was my changing point. So I need to find myself. I need to find the game, not myself. I need to find the game that I love in Oblivion. And I don't want to make too many cuts, because I could do that. I could just record whatever, you know, I just keep myself pumped up. I could do that, and just be, you know, artificially enthusiastic about the game, but I don't do that. I mean, with cuts, I guess I could, but I can't. Like, I wouldn't be able to just sustain a Let's Play. It's a huge game. Oblivion is enormous, and I need to find what is really good about the game. So I might mod it. I do have experience with the Oscuro Oblivion Overhaul, or 3.2, I believe, is the latest version. There's a few things that also change the landscape. I think it's Nature Overhaul or something like that. I actually worked with those guys on a work in progress lake. That was my foray into modding. Not just that, but it was never released though. But I have a lot of experience with the modding of Oblivion and with Skyrim as well. But the thing is, I need to find a game, and I need to find something that will make you, as a fan of Oblivion, because those are those of you that are gonna watch me, and you know, not just you, but the majority is gonna be that. As a fan of Oblivion, I want to make you justice. And as a fan of The Witcher 3, I apologize. I do apologize for not finding that quest. I wish I knew about the Axii. I wish I knew about the reference. Maybe on my first approach to that quest, that bank quest, I would be enthusiastic about it. I'd be loving it. But I wasn't. I needed to be honest, and I was. So I apologize if that bothered you on that episode. And I apologize in advance if I do that again. I don't think I have ever done that. Not to that extent, certainly not to that extent, but I don't think I've been ever very critical. I do choose my games very carefully because of that, because I don't want to play a game that I don't like, because otherwise I wouldn't be the image I come, the way I come across on camera is because I love the games that I'm playing, and if I'm playing a game that I don't like, you will see a different person. Not a different person, but a different side of me, and that's an interesting thing, I guess, but it just... You can tell that I'm loving a game, and I want that to stay the same. So yeah, Let's Plays and not reviews. I aim to keep it that way. I know that, and I hope you understand that as well. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you very much for watching this rant, for hearing this rant. Do stay tuned after the break, because there's more things coming, and actually very important things. Well, very important things. I have finally gotten my my recording schedule all nice and tidy. I have the episodes that I want to have pre-recorded, all pre-recorded. It's all fantastic, and I'm enjoying all the Let's Plays that I'm doing, with the exception, actually, there's no exception. There's no exception. Well, Silent Storm, there's an exception. I'm loving that game, but I just reached quit on episode 30, and I haven't gotten back to that one, so look forward to episode 30. Anyway, I'm loving that game though. But yeah, I have finally got my recording schedule all set up and all nice and tidy. So I've been watching a lot of stuff. That said, I want to keep one thing at a time for these updates. So I am gonna talk to you about something that I didn't talk last week, and I probably should have, because it kind of came in context with last week's video about maps and world building and all that sort of stuff. I had a lot of fun making that, and I plan to do that again. Excuse the hiccup. Do that more about character systems. That's actually a lot I want to say about character systems. I want to talk about character design. Level design is something that's very close to me and very dear, and anybody that really cares about games should know that level design is kind of fundamental to a lot of games, not just RPGs. And actually, RPGs don't really care too much about level design. You can have terrible level design and have a fantastic RPG. Other games, like anything that has puzzles, absolutely level design is the must-have. Shooters, level design is fun. It's fundamental. But I want to talk about a lot of stuff. But this week I've been watching WASD20. It is a channel about a lot of stuff. It's it's mostly about role-playing games, tabletop role-playing games. It's got a lot of things. It's got interviews, it's got reviews, it's got things, streams about drawing maps. That's the reason why I maybe should have talked about that last week. And the guy's a lot of fun. He's very knowledgeable as well. But I've been watching it and I've been finding something that I'm missing. I'm sorely missing, and it's terrible for me that I'm so missing that, because as a YouTuber on what I do, and as a player as well, I'm missing the tabletop experience for role-playing games, and I don't know. The thing is, I don't know how to make a campaign. I've never built that. I have written stuff. I have made up stories. I've made up worlds. I have made up character systems. But I don't have the experience of looking at... I've never seen GURPS. I don't know how GURPS work. I've never really looked deeply into what Warhammer 40k system, how it works. I know roughly how it works with Shadowrun or even Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not knowledgeable about that. And there's such a huge part of the population of, you know, role players that is really dedicated to that, that knows about that stuff. So from me to come, and not just from me, but from a lot of developers to make an RPG, if I want to ever make an RPG or even talk about them, not having that as a perspective, as a background for your perspectives, that's really bad. That's really bad. It's what it is. That said, it's interesting. Also, my perspective and the contrast that I see. Like, I found WASD20 because I was looking for precisely videos on how to make a campaign. And I was doing that because I wanted to actually check with the personal interaction between. Well, I'm interested in that sort of stuff. How people learn, basically, and the personal interaction. Because making a campaign is important for you to transmit the story, and that of course translates into how you can write stories and all that sort of stuff. And that's the reason why I was looking for it. But I wanted to learn into that, and I found WASD20, which is a fantastic channel name, by the way, and it's brilliant. The thing is, there's such a seemingly it seems that there's such a lack of intuition, I guess, in campaign creators and in story creators, and in turn in RPG creators. There's such a lack of intuition on what makes up a good story, and more importantly, not a good story actually, what makes up a good campaign, a good world, a good role-playing campaign. It hurts me. It hurts me. It really hurts, because I don't have the perspective that I should have for understanding this sentence. It hurts me to hear this sentence, or, you know, this notion that a campaign builder makes up this thing for your players to go through. Like this, you got these characters, you have these plot points, you have this map, and you make up that so nicely. And then the players decide to bugger off and do something else instead. And it pains me to hear that, because that's not how we should do that at all. I think, I don't have that perspective, but I think as a pen and paper campaign master or game master, you should focus more on the tips that you give the players than on actually the results. And I think that you can see that in some role-playing games as well. Like Fallout 1... and Fallout 2 as well, especially Fallout 2 actually, the end result is not really what is good about the game. And you can see that in a lot of RPGs. The end you just make up. Effectively, it's what it is. You just go through a world with a lot of tips, a lot of things for you to do. And you can focus on that. You can focus on this character that lost his watch. Or you can focus on, I don't know, whatever. Like, your car got stolen. And it's not the end result that matters, is the entrance. That's what you'll remember. Is you got into New Reno and your car got stolen. And everybody knows that. Now, what happens after that? I don't know. I just went and got the car back. The end result is irrelevant. Because the end result is what you make of it. And I think for a game master and for an RPG creator, it's really important to know what really touches the player. So it's more important for you to build a village with a couple of things that really pull the attention of the player, rather than a couple of underground places that if the player does this and does that and does that, he goes there and it's amazing. I don't care about amazing. Give me something interesting and let me frick it up. And I think that's a much better approach to campaign design. But again, that's the thing. I don't have the perspective. I've never made a campaign. I've never played pen and paper. I really should. I unfortunately don't have much time currently, but who knows? Maybe one day I will do YouTube. Maybe I will do YouTube full time, and I will have plenty of time to do all that sort of nice stuff that I I really want to as well, and make my own games and all that sort of stuff, and learn with my own mistakes and see what's wrong. But if you want to talk about that, feel free to leave a comment below. I understand that, you know, leaving comments is tricky. I know. But I always ask for that because those of you that go out of your way to write something, I really thank you, and it's the best part of doing YouTube. So yeah, also feel free to share your stuff that you're watching, like I don't know, anything related to pen and paper role-playing games. There's a lot of stuff out there, fortunately. And if you want to share my, if you want to share my channel as well with your friends, if you know anybody that likes role-playing games and likes Let's Plays, that's also a very, very good way to help me out, and rather than just leaving a comment, or do leave a comment, that's fine as well, thank you very much, but if you can share my channel, that's also a very good way to grow the channel, because that's what really matters, just people that like the stuff that you like and that I like. That's what really matters. Just general views is not, I mean, sure, but knowing that I'm talking right now to people that appreciate the sort of stuff that I appreciate, that's really sad. That's really rewarding. And with that in mind, I also want to thank you as always for watching and for your support and for sharing and for all that stuff. And especially to those of you that have gone out of your way to support me monetarily on Patreon. And I got a link for you up there if you want to check it out. I always say it every week, but I do appreciate you. Thank you very, very, very much for your support. You're amazing. You're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you very much. And those of you that have supported me on Patreon are Benji, Namik Noor, Rob Anybody, Robert Daffern, Jordan Kozart, Casper, KJ Jorgensen, Paul Bible, Joshua A. Ennis, Michael Grayson, Grigory Krizikov, Atom Collider, and Higher Ground Gaming. Thank you very, very much for going out of your way and going out of your way to Patreon up there. There, is that a thing? I think that is. And thank you very much for going there and for supporting me. If you have questions about Patreon, feel free to leave them. It's a thing that you can cancel at any time. You can leave basically effectively a one-time donation, and that's fantastic. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you very much if you want to do that. But the Patreon, I think, is going to be really the well, not just Patreon, but there's GameWisp, there's other things as well. But I think that's going to be the future for YouTube Let's Players, for us to be able to have to do this full time. I don't do it yet, but I might in the future, and little by little we're getting there. And yeah, I will still be here even if I don't do it full time. I don't do it full time right now, so I'm doing it. So I'll still be here, but I want to do so much more. It's just a question of more. And better as well. Yeah, but yeah. So thank you very much for watching and for supporting me, and stay tuned after the break for the end. There's a quote coming on. And today's quote is actually coming kind of out of nowhere because it doesn't have anything to do with the rest. But yesterday, Portugal won the... I'm Portuguese. Portugal won the Eurovision 2017 championship? What is it? It's like a thing where people sing and people vote and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. I didn't watch it, but I did. I went earlier today. I went to my grandma's house to have lunch, and the TV was on, and you know, that was what they were talking about. Among other things, there's also other things going on here. But the quote is from the winner, from Portuguese singer and composer, I think, Salvador Sobral, and he said something that really resonated with me for different reasons, I supposed at the time, but then I kind of figured what he was saying. So his quote goes something like this: "Music is not fireworks, music is feeling." And what really resonated with me was music is not fireworks. So if you love music, if you really enjoy listening to music, you might not be at the stage that I'm at, or you might be beyond the stage that I'm at. I think it's the progress of the love that you have for music is something that starts with just a general tendency to enjoy listening to it, and then you get deeper and deeper and deeper. You stop or you stay where you need to stay or you want to stay, but there is a stage where you realize just what he was saying. He actually has a big speech about that that I did enjoy, but then I listened to the music a little bit, and I was like, yeah, pianos and a string quartet, that's fireworks. Because if you want to make a music that resonates with everybody else, with just, people find, oh, it's so beautiful, like fireworks, you just put, piano and string quartet, but I was rash in my judgment, and I then took the time to listen. It's a beautiful performance. It's absolutely touching. It is touching. I don't listen to that sort of music that much. I'm more rock, metal kind of guy. But I do listen. I can appreciate it, and it's a beautiful performance. It's nicely composed, and I enjoyed it. I mean, from what I can tell, it was pretty good. And I got a link for you up there. I might as well. It's called Amar pelos dois, and it was composed by his sister. And I understood what he meant by music is feeling. I mean, I understand. But music is not fireworks is really what I think really should be felt. And if you love music, try to find the beauty in it that you find. What I mean is, don't listen to something because it's textbook beautiful or textbook pleasant. You can listen to music that's really hard on your ears, like noise rock or death metal, and you can still find amazing significance and feeling in that. Recently, I've actually found an album that from Porcupine Tree that I hadn't listened to before. It was actually a couple of months ago, and I found a song there that's actually very famous from them. It's called Trains. Also got a link for you up there if you're interested in progressive rock. And that song is like drugs. It's not the best song they have done, and that's the interesting part. You don't need to be technically proficient or follow a recipe like pianos and string quartets, which is fine. Whatever, it's fine. I can listen to it. I like it as well. But the thing is, that music is like drugs. I was listening to it for the first and second times, and it was like I was being injected with drugs. Like I was happy and sad at all the same time, and it was absolutely mad. And I just all I had to do was let myself be taken by the flow of that song. I mean, it's not my favorite song of theirs. But it's fantastic. Their composer is brilliant, genius. But for those of you that enjoy that, I know some of you do. So I might not be giving you any news about that, but that's a beautiful song, I think. And it's, if you let it sink in a little bit, there's more depth to that than fireworks. So yeah, try to spread that try to spread that perspective on music. That's the word I'm trying to use, to your friends that enjoy music. Don't be afraid to sound a little bit geeky. I actually did that with my band. I wasn't afraid. I mean, when you're in a band, it's a different. When you're making music in a band, it's very different than when you're making music by yourself. Because you know the meaning that you're giving to the music, but you can't be completely honest with a band because otherwise it just be noise all the time because everybody's talking at the same time. It's terrible. So you need to reserve, when you're making music in a band, you need to reserve something to yourself. But don't be afraid to just be a little bit pretentious every once in a while and just say this, like, I really like the texture of this. If you do this on the guitar and I do this on mine and you have the bass over here with this line or whatever. And that perspective can be done as well when people are sharing music. Don't be afraid, like Steven Wilson, which is the frontman of Porcupine Tree, he's going to release a new album, and he released a new song that had a lot of layers that I had to go through to understand it. When I reached, the thing is, if I wasn't honest about that, if I just listened to the song and okay, I like this, but if I didn't really try to understand it and all the things that the lyrics meant and the song in itself and all that, and just try to get to the bottom of it, I wouldn't enjoy the music, that song in particular, as I enjoy it right now. So don't be afraid to share a perspective on a song, even if it's like an instrumental. That's fine. Don't, if you like classical, if you like rock, whatever you feel like, or dance, whatever, even dance, even, well, particularly dance, actually. Dance music can be very deep. But you need to share. You need to have that perspective. So I know this comes out of nowhere, but I also know that a lot of people listen to music. And you know, we older people listen to our own kind of music, I guess. Because I know a lot of you are beyond your 20s, and that's fantastic. So yeah, definitely, I think that's a good perspective to have. Don't be afraid to sound a little bit geeky, to sound a little bit pretentious. Because probably the other person, if you're friends with them, they're gonna have that in them, and if they might mock you a little bit, they probably won't, but they might. But deep down, they're gonna learn a little bit more, and let them express their geekiness as well. I think that's beautiful for music and for games as well. Of course, that's what I do. But yeah. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for another fantastic week, and I'm looking very much forward to the future. It's awesome to play games that I love. And it's awesome to have you guys playing them with me. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.